only to bring you peace, only at Christmas.
I'm wearing my Jeffrey Campbell's again today with chicken coop socks. Same jeans I wear all the time. Little t-shirt and my beautiful Andromeda, which I knit out of hedgehog fibers in the pine colorway. And I wanted to wear something hand knit today because I am going to my very first sip and stitch at a local yarn store after I get off work tonight. Warming up my car. Had a bit of a flustered morning. I stayed up later than I should have, so then I slept a little bit later than I should have, and I realized that I needed to take the plated leftovers to work for lunch, which I hadn't been thinking about properly last night because of the mind mush stuff that I talk about in my chit chat segment of my last episode. Just grad school brain. So I had like accidentally cooked like half the vegetables, but I hadn't cooked the pork. So anyway, I had to like cook the pork and pack it. And I wanted to wind up both of the mini skeins so that I could work on my Advent socks at knit night. Because I didn't get my stripe in yesterday. So now I have 2 stripes that I need to get in, and I don't want to get behind on that. So yeah, I was kind of like running around like a chicken with my head cut off this morning. But now I am heading off, and hopefully not much the worse for wear.
On our way from Stockholm, it started to snow.
It's about 5:30 and I am heading out. Going to go to the Sip and Stitch, which is conveniently just down the road from my office, and hang out there for a few hours. Should be a really pleasant evening, and I'm excited about it. I was invited by someone who does social media for the shop, and I actually met her on Instagram because she was interviewed in the Tell Me About Your Rhinebeck Sweater video that Christy Glass does now annually. And anyway, she said that she was from Cincinnati, so I was like, cool. So we connected on Instagram, and I've never met her in person, so I'm a little bit nervous because I'm introverted and I don't do well with these things, but I'm also really excited. Here we go. So here's an interesting thing I have to share before I drive off, because I'm thinking about it, and I talked about on my last podcast how I had lost my keys because of my mush mind. And last night I dreamt that I went to put my keys inside my small purse that I keep inside my work bag, and the other, so I lost the keys, and then I was using the spare set, right? Still haven't turned up. So I dreamed that I went to put the spare set that I've been using into my small bag, and there was already a set in there, and I went, oh, I just found my keys. Today, when I got to work, actually, I was sort of remembering the dream, because you know how if you kind of forget and then it comes back to you maybe. And I suddenly just like knew with certainty that that's where it was, where the keys were. So I opened it, and they were stuck in the bottom, hiding from me, which of course it was one of the places that I looked when I had lost them, but I was like panicky and they were hiding, and you know how that happens. So this is the set. I would show you both sets, but the other one is in the ignition right now because I'm warming up the car. But what's interesting, so I don't have fancy keys. I have a car key and a house key, and that's it. So when I started using the spare set after Ryan made me the spare house key, it looked identical to the ones that I had lost. And I feel like what must have happened is I must have at some point seen that I had keys in my purse, which were the ones that were missing, but it didn't process that that was this missing set because they both looked identical and I wasn't seeing them at the same time and they were somewhere that it makes sense for keys to be. I have no idea if any of this is making sense to you. I hope it is. But what I'm getting at is I had this like prophetic dream, and I think that the dream came from the fact that my subconscious was able to figure out based on the things that I had actually seen. I saw the keys somewhere, I saw them somewhere else, and in my conscious mind I wasn't able to connect that they were different sets of keys. I thought all of it was the spare keys that I was using. But my subconscious mind, which apparently is like able to get well rested and sort things out and isn't like trying to hold in her head all of the things she has to do to prep for winter residency, that part of my mind figured it out and then told me about it in a dream, which is amazing. Like, that's a totally scientific explanation for how I had a dream that predicted the future or like knew a thing I didn't know, you know what I mean? That's not magic, that's science, and yet it like that just proves the science is magic and is like even cooler. That's even cooler than if there wasn't an explanation.
Since it's Christmas, let's be glad. Even if your life's been bad, there are presents to be had. Take a walk out in the snow and hear Santa's ho ho ho. He's got 1,000,000 miles to go.
I just got home and I had a really good time petting Augie. I met a lot of other knitters and I talked about knitty things, and it was just really nice. So it is about 9:30 now, and I'm just gonna get ready for bed and try to get some reading in tonight since I've already accomplished plenty of knitting for the day. I got the 2 stripes that I needed to done on my socks, and then I did some knitting on my Eva sweater, which was really nice. So, oh, and I also got some prizes for the 5 Request KAL. This is the local yarn store where I went. And for the 5 Request KAL, I thought it would be really cool if the prize for every land of fiber was a skein of yarn that included that fiber. So I picked up something for January, February, which is the land of camelids. I got this amazingness. It is 100% pure fine alpaca, and it's undyed, so they twisted together several beautiful undyed colorways to create this beautiful thing. And Melissa, who worked at the store, told me that it has a little bit of a micro stripe thing going on with it when you knit with it, so that's really cool. Very lucky person will be winning that. And I looked at cashmere because Land of Goats is next, but I actually ended up finding something for silk, which will not be until the summer. But when we have the Land of Silk, the prize is going to be some beautiful Noro silk garden, which is 45% silk, 45% mohair and 10% wool. And it is just a very stunning, almost like an art yarn. You could do a lot of really fun things with this. So, prizes, and you guys got a nice preview of them because I won't be showing these off on the podcast until a couple weeks from now when I record again. So make sure you start planning your ideas for camelids, because some lucky person is gonna win this yarn and I'm gonna be jealous of them. All right, it's time for me and Augie to head to bed. Thanks for joining us for another day of Vlogmas.
Bum, bum,